Hi everyone, welcome back. Like and subscribe, helps me out massively. Thank you very much. This week we've had a request. Now I did ask on previous videos if anyone's got any requests for any recording techniques. Drop me a line and I'll get it done at some point. This one's for can't really say this name, but the YouTuber called YYB. It's not even a name, but basically I'm going to call you YY. YY, here we go. This is the acoustic recording techniques. Enjoy. This is what I always do. I've got two techniques. So the first one, I've kind of borrowed from a well-known producer who produced James Taylor's music. Now, if you know who James Taylor is and you know his acoustic guitar sound, it's pretty second to none. Now he uses, I'll show you. I'll just get my acoustic guitar. Ooh. It's not a very good one. Thing is, it's not got a great name, but it records pretty well. So acoustics come and go. They get tested in the studio. If they sound good, they stay. If they don't, even the expensive ones, not all of them sound great, they go. Every guitar from 200 quid to 5,000 quid, pounds. You just never know what's going to work in your room. So remember that as well. This is a Fender thing, and it's got a big hole in it there. Not a big hole, but where is it? There. You see that? Yeah, there you go. Bang. It's had a whack. Right. Now, this is pretty simple. Don't forget, you need to pick, and I'm talking about anyone who's doing this at home, who's trying to do it in a garage or a bedroom. I'm talking to you about this. If you're going to a studio, then you don't need to sort of think about it. Their room should sound pretty decent. It should sound pretty decent. But if you're doing it at home, try and find the biggest space you can find will give you a nicer sound, really. Even in a hallway, record at the bottom of the hallway, let the sound waves can go a lot further up them stairs. You might get a chance of getting a better sort of room sound out of something like that. Bigger the better, really. That's why they call these little rooms box rooms, because they sound like you're sitting in a box. You don't want your acoustic sounding like that. So that's the first thing. You need to find the best room you can possibly get. And hallways are pretty good. Or kitchens. Try it out. Now, this first one is, I've kind of nicked half of it off of a producer called Val Garay. That's what I was talking about. And he did James Taylor. Listen to any of them, the old albums. The acoustic sounds unbelievable. So here's what he used. He used two mics, one close mic and one just a bit further out, condenser mic. So first one, I'll put the acoustic down for a second. It's called a Sony ECM 50 PS. And this is what it looks like. That's it there. Okay, that's all it is. Right, so all you do, let's put that on the floor. This part, it goes, you can see this, get a bit closer. So you take it and put it in there. You put it in there, sorry. There you go. Clip it in there. Can you see that? That's all you do, you just clip it in there. That's it. That's all you got to do. The only other mic I use, I use a U87 Neumann. He uses AKG 414. Look them up. And his 414, this area here, this is the hot spot for acoustic guitar. All right. A little bit of the sound hole, but around there. Okay. Bring it up a bit so you can really see that. Around there. So you want to point, whatever mic you're using, point it around that area. Around there. Yeah. And adjust to taste, and you should get a really rounded top end, bottom end, no honkiness. So we used a AKG staring at this sort of area, about 12 inches out, maybe 15 inches out, looking right there. Yeah, around there. Okay, right in front of it. Okay. The second technique is cut to the other room. As you can see there, one mic going towards the hole, the other mic going towards the neck, if you like. We've got the Sony just positioned where it's always going to be there. That's that one. And we've got a U87 looking down in this sort of area, around here sort of area. Now if you have one pencil mic, this is a good place. Right there, straight towards that, about that far away. That usually gives you a great sound. So what I'm basically doing, as you can see, is I'm doing the same thing, but I'm going for a stereo affair, and I'll show you how to mix it in the other room. So that's it. That's how it would be. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now it's that time again. It's time for me to stop looking that way and start looking that way. We ready? Boom. Right, so that's the recordings we got. Oh, and we're back on Logic. Most people will have got Logic, so I sod it, I'm back on it. Right, so we got, well, you can see how I've named it. We've got Acoustic, Sony, lapel. So that's the lapel mic. I've got a U87i, to be specific. It's from the early 80s. That's what I use instead of a AKG 414. So these two here, that's one style, if you like. Sorry, put that on there. Let's do it again. Okay, so you can see what we've got. We've got the Acoustic. This is how I've labelled it. So the Sony lapel mic. That's an ECM mic up there. The U87 next to it, and that's these two. That's one mic style. So we've got them on mute at the moment. Now this one is what we use. I usually use for. Let's call it part of a band. The sound is, it's part of a band, and you can expand it to a bigger sound if you wanted to. If you've got a breakdown where it's just the acoustic guitar, and everyone comes back in, this is a good one to use. If it's good enough for James Taylor, kind of good enough for us. Okay, so let's have a listen to that one first. Nothing's been mixed, so this is just the straight recordings, no EQ. There's nothing else on it, so you can listen to exactly what you get back from these mics. Let's have a look. Now we're looking over here. Okay, so we start with the first technique. All right, so we silence these two. These two are the pencil mics, stereo pair. We'll get onto that in a minute. So we'll just quickly play it so you can have a listen. Right, so let's listen to the lapel mic on its own. Now listen to that. Now is that loud enough? Is it coming through okay? Yeah, that's good. Now, all right. My playing's not great, but hey, it's okay. Too bad. Now listen to that on its own. It's not bad already, is it? But let's have a listen to the U87 on its own. So this one hasn't been touched either. No EQ, nothing. Quite happy with that sound. Put them together. They're both going right down the middle in the on the panning. Now make sure, obviously, select one. Make sure your phase is right on one of the mics. I'll bring in that's the phase meter. Now, because they're going right down the middle, both of them, you're getting perfect polarity, basically. Now, if we pan them to either side, you see it start to muck it out. There we go. All right, so that's. Now you can see. Now, if I phase invert one of them, there you go. In the red or in the minus, that's out of phase. You'll find it's super wide when it's out of phase. Feels like it's coming around the side of your head. So that's in phase. So we can get rid of that. Get rid of the correlation meter. Now all you've really got to do, you can put them back in the middle. It's super simple. Super close up, Sony lapel. Bring the other one in to taste. It's a warmer sound, the more you bring that in, more of a roomier sound. Now what I'm going to do with the second technique, which is the stereo pair, I'm going to be sort of mixing that a little bit, and anything I do on that one will pretty much apply to this first technique. Okay, so I'll play it a little bit longer so you can just get a feel for how it sounds. So that's right down the middle. Now, one thing, if I've got two mics on one source, turn this down. I've got two mics on one source. I can't help myself. I have to pan them both super wide just to see what happens, because sometimes you get magic, sometimes you don't. Now what I want to do is I want to get the levels pretty much so the guitar's down the middle. Now the correlation meter, it's not too bad. It's nicely in phase. The more it's over this side, the better it'll sit in mono. So say you're listening to it on a phone, listen to it in the upright position. Don't know why you do that, but loads of kids do that. Ridiculous. But that'll come out in mono, so you'll hear it quite well. If this is further over here, more over this end and into that end, you won't hear anything. So it'll be lost in the mix. So as long as you're sitting in this sort of area, it'll work pretty well in mono. So that's something to take with you. Right, next one is my technique. I'm sure other people have done it, but I haven't borrowed this from anyone. I've kind of taken one technique and mishmashed it to what I would usually do. As we spoke before, the technique is one pencil mic in a certain area on the guitar. Okay. Now this, if you look at them, they've both been recorded at the same level, in exactly the same place. But one's looking at the neck and one's looking at the whole, like around the whole area. The whole area gives you, all your bottom end, and the neck area gives you all the sort of the gliss and the top end. So you can see there's a lot more level in the one looking at the whole. Okay, so we're going to play one first. Still sounds good though. So this is looking towards the neck area. Now that can be used in a mix, to be fair. There's not a lot of bottom end going on there. You could, if the mix needed it, you could just get rid of the other one, just use that one. And by the way, no EQ, nothing. This is just mics in front in the right, as good as I can get it. That's that. Okay, so we'll turn that one off. Now this is the one looking at the body. Let's do it from the top. Now a lot fuller sounding, right? Just let you have a listen to that. As you can see, there's still a lot of top end information. Top end is in like the treble, you know, 6K up, anything like that. There's a lot of information there on the top end. It's just you got a lot more body on this side. For obvious reasons, it's looking at the hull. Is it called a hull? It is now. Rude. So what we're going to do now, bear with me because there's a few steps to this. What we're going to do is we're going to put both of those two into a stereo bus. Right now, you should be able to, if you're using the Logic, you should know how to do this, but it's pretty easy. And there's the bus. Acoustic guitar. That's just these two mics. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to put one all the way to the right, and we're going to put the other one all the way to the left. Left, centre, right. If you've watched earlier episodes, left, centre, right. We're using left and right, okay? So what we're going to do, take now you can see the bassier one on the right. Just balance out the levels. You can see them both easily in the main bus. Come on, you. Let's get that right. So you can see there. So balance it out a little bit, not too far. Don't forget, on the one on the right has got more power because it's got more bottom end. So it will come up sounding louder. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to use one of my favourite plugins. That's right. Let's put it there. Now that is on the stereo bus going out. Now, as you can see, this is basically a big mid-side matrix. It's called I don't know why they called it a saturator. It does do saturation, but that's not for me, that's not its main job. What it does best is you can manipulate the mid and side of a signal. Now, if you listen, because you've got the stereo pair with the bass in it, if you like, that's looking at the whole. As we've panned it all the way to the right, yeah, and the other one's all the way to the left. Let's listen to them separately. So that's the one on the right. But you can hear the one on the left. All that bottom end is on the left. We don't want that. What we want to do is we want to take the bottom end of the whole signal and we want to, if you like, monoize it. Yeah. So we want to put all the bottom end on this side and this side. This side hasn't got much. This side's got loads. We want to put it all together in the middle. Yeah. Now we can do that with this plugin. And that is this one here, Mono Maker. I always go to about, as you can see, 500 hertz, 400 hertz. A little bit of the lower mids in there as well, but I don't think you need much of it. Anywhere from the bottom end, 500 down, you kind of want to keep it right down the middle of the mix. If this is like a singer-songwriter thing, what it does, it keeps all the bass in the left and right, the exact equal amount. So it gives you more power. You're using more speakers to push the bottom end, okay? So you don't want that bass on one side. You want it coming out of both speakers. By the way, that's what the sound of vinyl is. They've got to have the bottom end the same on both sides. Otherwise, the needle, if the bass on one side, the needle will jump out the groove. This is the same idea. So Mono Maker, what it says at the bottom there is, you see more, yeah, there you go. 521 hertz. It's around there, do it to taste. But basically that's 660 hertz all the way down to 0. Yeah, 0 hertz. Nothing above is touched. So what we're going to do, take the mid-side thing off. Now we're going to put the correlation meter so you can see what's going on. Now you'll see when I put the mono maker in, the phase will get even better. Now the better the phase, the better it will translate on, you know, mono speakers and anything else like that. So, mono maker, that's off. Let's turn it on and let's turn it up to 500 hertz. Now can you hear the bottom end is in the middle now. Now I can go all the way up to, I can do whatever I want. Now look at the phase meter. Hold on, I've just realised you can't see it. There you go. Alright, phase meter. I'm going to turn it down a bit. Easy to work with. Right, so we take the mono maker off. Now you can see where the phase is with the two mics panned fully left and right. Now we turn the mono maker on. Here we go. Look at that. Look at the phase meter. Phase is way better. But if you hear it, you can hear it's only the bottom end that's in the middle. You still got that spread, stereo spread at the top end of the two mics looking that way and that way. Okay, so you've centerized it, if you like. The positioning of you can really hear the acoustic guitar is right down the middle now, because that bottom end is sort of letting you know that. Turn it off again. Bottom end is on one side now, without it. Let's get to a busier part. Right, let's put it back on. Now there you go. Let's put it right down the middle. Onto the EQ inside. Personally, I always sort out the EQ first before I compress. The reason is these days you've got something called a dynamic EQ. I'll show you what it does. Say somebody hits the acoustic a bit too hard on one hit and your bottom end just goes crazy. What you can set the dynamic EQ to listen to just the bottom end. So when it goes past a certain point on the meter, it'll bring it down just for that instance. And when you go back under the threshold, it'll put it back to normal. So it's evening out your bottom end, i.e. the lower strings on your guitar. The two tracks still going through the stereo bus. We've got the first thing we got on there is a saturator. Second thing we got on there is the Pro Q. Okay, so let's put that there so you can see it properly. There you go, that's pretty standard, you can see that. Now I've got a few things set up there. One's a standard high pass, so we're taking out, put it on 36 dB per octave. Now you just turn that on. I've got it around 27 hertz. Start from about 27 hertz and move it up as it's playing. Let's turn it on. I'm happy with that. Now remember, this is like a singer-songwriter thing, so it's all acoustic and voice, you know. Okay, so as you can see, the bottom end there, it's quite leery. First thing you want to do is look around the sort of 150, 250, 300 area. Listen out for the mud. It's what we call the mud. What it is around that area, you'll hear it. Now the good thing about Pro Q3, and we'll turn that one on. Now this is just a bell, simple bell curve, yeah? Now put it on the headphones. So it's around this area, you hear that? It's like it's just a bit muddy. Go a bit lower. We're getting down into the bass frequencies. It's this sort of area here, okay? Q's at about 2.5. We can hear it sort of drony. what we do is I can only vouch for this plugin. But we turn on dynamic EQ. Instead of having it on auto, take that. Now it's manual. Now this is the threshold. When the threshold meets that signal, it'll start ducking. Okay. Now it's not ducking anything right now because it's not hearing anything. This here determines how much it ducks by. You can do it by this. Yeah. Now I'll take it right out so you can really hear what it's doing. Put it back in. Now this is a good way to do it, to be fair. Is if you start by doing tiny little amounts, it's hard to hear it. It's hard for anyone to hear it. What you want to do is ram it. Not in plus because it'll blow your speakers. Take that signal out. Now you can really hear what it's doing. And now put it back to normal. So there's nothing. Back. And now you can really start to hear that mud, yeah? Yeah? Off, on. Right, so you now you're just getting a good balance. Now you go back in. A bit more back, quite like the warmth it imparts. Okay. Right. Next thing is the bottom end. When somebody hits it too hard, that bottom end can just go super crazy. So we're going to do this. It's the same idea, but instead of using a bell curve, we're going to use a low shelf, right? Now you can use the low shelf for the whole of this part. Yeah, you could put a low shelf right up here and just use it for that. That can work in some instances. Acoustic guitar though, I do use this one on its own just to get rid of that mud, but the shelf EQ to control the bottom end, if you like. So let's go to the bottom end. Let's reset it so you can see what I've done. So it's on the low shelf. Let's play it. Now this is the area here, right? This is the area we want to tame that bottom end. So if we just bring that down here and listen to it. Bring it up. Now we can go, let's go with a steeper shelf. Now we don't want to touch all of that, we just want to touch the bottom end. You want to keep that in control. So I'm thinking, yeah, about there. Now we've found where we want it. Put it back to 0. Now, let's see how. Now you want it to react. It reacts pretty quickly, like more or less instantly. But you want it to take have plenty of room to take it right down if it needs to for the big hits. So I'll go quite deep with the gain on it. As you can see, it's like minus 18 dB, so that's quite a lot. It's not going to ever hit that, but when I bring this down, now what we're going to do, the same thing. We're going to call it what we call rocking. Yeah. So you know where the area you want to play with. What you want to do now is train your ears to what you're trying to get rid of. So we're going to rock like on the desk. So we'll rock it way past it and way behind it. So, okay, I can hear what I want to get rid of now. And then from when they can hear the difference, then they put it where they want it. Okay, gives you a good reference. So we're going to go all the way down, all the way off. I don't mind it. I just want it touching it. Now you can see what it's doing, right? Any of these bottom notes it's hitting, obviously you're playing an A chord, so it's hitting that lower A, yeah, or a E. You're hearing the lower E bass note, yeah. And all it's doing is it's cutting it to a certain amount, so you basically it'll level out that bottom end for you nicely. If it doesn't go over the threshold, the EQ will not move. So it's as it was. This is just to catch. Let's take a bit off that. This is just to catch any stray big bangs that you put through it. So let's turn this off and see what it's done. Back on. This is the same, turning it on and off is the same idea as the rocker method. Now you're listening before and after. And you're not the only one listening, I'm also listening. Now I listen to that and I think, quite like the woodiness of it. This cleans up quite a bit on that bottom end. I think it's a little bit too muddy without it on. So I'll stick with that for now. Put a vocal in, see how it sounds. Now if the vocal feels like it's getting lost a bit, around the 2k to 5k, yeah, add another one in, another bell in. Now you can just take it out. Just narrow the EQ, wherever the Vox sits. Just leave it out. The Vox is, sitting around this area, the top end of the Vox, which is the if you think of it, it's like the detail of the vocals. So you can really hear what's going on. It might be, if it's a man's voice, it'll be a bit lower. It might be a bit higher if it's a woman's voice. Something like that. And you can, if you wanted to bring the top up, just to give it a bit more shimmer, you can either do it from there, or you can do it, you can put it out through the sides, turn it up. The beauty of that, let's turn that EQ off, I just put on the top. The beauty of that, it's not touching the middle, it's just the sides that are getting the top end. Now, let's take that top end off. Right. If you want to compress it now, it'll be a more even compression. Let's have a look. Something that we've all got. Just a compressor. Yeah, just tickle it really. Smash it if you want. Personally, I'll use the tiniest bit. If I have to, I always try and keep it as pure as if it was played in the room. If it's a busy mix, then you're going to have to, crank it into it a little bit more. It'll do just enough to get it all nice and level. Sound good. So, as you can see, I'm just touching it. It's keeping it a bit more even. I hope that all made sense. If anything you didn't understand, put it in the comments. The truth is the way I've used Pro Q3 there, you can kind of use it for any instrument, you know. Okay, so what I'll do is let you have a little listen to the plate reverb on the acoustic. It's a real plate reverb. Have a little listen. I'll play it now on the outro. YY. I hope you enjoyed that. And everyone else, like and subscribe. We'll be back next week with more good stuff. Okay, see you then.